Yes, hello everyone, welcome along to another live show here on Forever United TV. This morning I'm talking about Rúben Amorim, the backlash from Everton. I did a show last night, we did a call-in show with several Manchester United fans, and it was an overwhelming "Get Rúben Amorim out of Manchester United" cry from the Manchester United fans. I couldn't believe it. Am I just looking at this completely differently? I want to get into detail on this because just as we were talking about this last night, he has also, Rúben Amorim himself, been talking to Portugal DAZN Portugal, about his formation. A bit of a hit back and a bit of a comeback from Rúben Amorim on his system that was heavily criticised against Everton. I'm going to go through what he said in that interview with DAZN and what's been picked out from that. Also, we're going to talk, obviously we'll talk on any transfer news coming up. We've got an update on Carlos Baleba this morning. Diego Leon on loan to Nice. That report came out late last night. Aidan Heaven got minutes for the under-21s last night. We'll talk about him. And another potential academy player that could feature for United. But looking at everything, looking at all of this news, how Manchester United are going to manage AFCON and what's going to happen going forward, Rúben Amorim is at the top of everyone's talking subjects at the moment, and everything that's going on at Manchester United. It is all anyone is talking about. And do you know what? I think I got carried away with the player side of things, how disappointed I was overall, because I've been looking at the bigger picture, I've been looking at what Manchester United could potentially achieve with this team. And you know, I've always been straight down the middle and said it. I think with no European football, there's no excuse for Manchester United. And kind of got carried away with the last 18 months and the best run that we've been on in the last 18 months, believe it or not, under Rúben Amorim over the previous 5 games. And then Everton hit, and it was like a bolt from the blue. And last night, when we did this call-in show, it took me back a little bit. It was a massive surprise to me. I didn't think the fan base was here. So I've set up a poll early doors on the show this morning just to gauge where everybody is at. Look, I think Rúben Amorim will get the rest of the season, and I want him to get the rest of the season. I'm standing by that. I think we need to see this out, and we need to see Rúben Amorim get this season and see where we're at the end of it. And then we can make judgment at the end. I think, like I said before, if we haven't got European football, I don't think Rúben Amorim survives anyway. I think he's gone. But we've got a poll up, and it's already been running for a few minutes. And again, absolutely taken aback by the results of this. Have I just been blind as to what actually could be going wrong from the coaching and the management side of thing here on this? Because last night I was surprised, and already this morning it's pretty much a 50-50 splits in the early stages of this poll. So if you are live with us this morning, get into the poll and let me know what you're thinking. Let me know where you're at with Rúben Amorim, because last night was a damning, let's just see, a damning report on Rúben Amorim from most of the Manchester United fans that I spoke to, and we did quite a few call-ins last night. So it is starting to look like patience has run out already. And I think with what it was with most of the Manchester United fans last night was that he's a victim of what's happened before. He's come in and he's had this big idea. We give him the first season. We give him that second part of last season to get through the honeymoon period, the adjustment phase and everything like that. And then bang, that's it. One bad result like we spoke about yesterday has sent everybody over the top again, worrying because United was so defensive against a 10-man poor Everton side. And there's a lot of fans that are fed up with him. But he has come back against this formation thing, talking to DAZN Portugal. And this, I think, is really, really interesting in what he said here, because it's a message, I think, from Rúben Amorim just to, well, from his side, try and reassure the fan base. Look, the fans are always going to be behind him in the stadium, and then you're going to get the aftermath after performances like we got yesterday on Monday night. And this is what Rúben said on his formation. This is what he was saying to DAZN Portugal. He says, we can say it's a 4-4-2, but 5 minutes later it's a 4-3-3, or then a 3-4-3. Interesting how he picks the 3-4-3 last out of all of them. There was definitely no 2 strikers up top in that game on Monday night against Everton. We can say that for certain anyway. He also took the opportunity to respond to his critics, adding, "I'm open to everything. People think I am fixated on one idea, but I simply start from a base." Amorim then explained that Mbeumo usually hurts opponents more when attacking from wide areas because he likes to stay hidden before bursting into space. Even so, he accepted that the winger's pace in transition makes the idea of using him centrally a real possibility. In the end, the Manchester United manager made it clear that nothing is off the table. The mobile front line remains part of the tactical toolbox and could be used again when the moment is right. And it just sounds like he hasn't got a definite starting 11 again, and he doesn't know what his best option is in the front, up front for Manchester United. That is a concern for me. Bryan Mbeumo is a striker now. We tried Xerxes. Mount's been there. Cunha's been there. I'd call me old school here, but I would rather just have one striker and then everything else work around him. I'd rather know who's there. And again, why does it always only seem to be Manchester United that have this sort of problem? It's that every time you look at anybody else, you know what they're going to do. You know where they're going to be on the pitch, and you know where that position is for that player, and you know how it's going to set up. With us, there's so many so-called versatile players, and anyone who is, been with us a while here on Forever United TV, you will know that I hate versatile players. I really do. Yet they're good, and I understand what they bring to the team, and every club needs them, but I just want to have a striker who plays as a striker, and then wingers who know what they're doing. I'm going to play on the same side week in, week out. The chopping and changing and constantly seeing players in different positions is not going to help Rúben Amorim convince this fan base. And that's the concern from this, where he thinks he is reassuring Manchester United fans with this. And I get where he's coming from, Rúben, with it as well. And I do understand there is versatile players in there, but it's never going to settle well we keep on changing things. And obviously injuries come in and Sesko's not available. I get that. But surely with a system like this, and him saying that he's not hell-bent on it being rigid, you would need another striker brought in the summer to just balance it out a little bit, give us a different option. Because you're taking away, like he's just described there, Bryan Mbeumo's main threat. We can utilise Bryan Mbeumo as a centre forward. Yes, we can. Is that the best position for Bryan Mbeumo? No, it's not. And then you're stopping the players performing in their best positions because you're moving it around so much. Every player would like to nail down one position in the team and stick to it. Even Bruno Fernandes goes from 6 to 8, and this constantly changing side of things from Rúben Amorim, I don't think I'm fully invested into it, where I understand it, and it does change and it does shift. I can see why Manchester United fans would be a little bit frustrated with it, because it seems like he's just trying to use it as an excuse as to why there is no order right now and why we've just had a really poor performance. Talking about the system and how defensive it is one way of looking at the game against Everton on Monday night, but I feel like he's using this now to say it changes all the time. It's not hell-bent on one system. And that was just a game where we really weren't at it. Well, I'm sorry, yes, we can talk about this and we'll deal with this at training, like he said after the game, and we'll deal with the players then. But really, when you look at it, it's down to the manager. And what people were telling me last night, and this was interesting, and this came up quite a lot, the in-game management thing for Rúben Amorim is where a lot of fans have got a serious issue. How the hell are we starting off so slow? So Rúben Amorim comes out and says that we weren't ready from the first minute and you could see it. And the fans talking to me last night were saying that, well, you've just spoken to them players in the changing room. So how have you not got into their heads what the plan is? And how has it gone after 1 minute? How are we not setting off in the second half fast and going after Everton if he's just spoken to them? And all sides of management are being what's questioned here with Rúben Amorim, I feel. It's not just the system. It's the in-game stuff. So where we can talk about it being a mix and it's not hell-bent on one thing, there are other problems that Man United fans are picking up on here with Rúben at the moment. And look, I get where they're coming from. I still feel like we have had our best moment under Rúben Amorim so far over the last couple of years. And I think there is still more to come, and I want to see more, and I don't want to see him get sacked yet. Nearly every person I spoke to last night was ready for sacking him today. I didn't think that was where United fans were at. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't see this reaction coming. And I said this is why I was surprised with the boos, but maybe I was blinded by what was going on. And don't get me wrong, I was encouraged by the form and I was trying to run the positive on it. And I seen what was happening and I thought, you know what, mentality-wise, at least we kind of got it. it wasn't great watching the Forest and the Spurs game. We were by no way means like on it, and it wasn't clear. It wasn't like free-flowing football and brilliance. Like, we were miles better against Brighton. That was our best game of the season, I thought. And I think the problem we had with it was the fact that these players melted so quickly. I don't know how Rúben changes that, because he is hell-bent on working with players on the training grounds. And this is what I had a tiny little bit of a problem with as well from the night on Monday, with Rúben saying, we'll go and deal with this at Carrington, we'll go and deal with this at training in the morning. No, you need to make it clear to them players right now. Like, walking out of Old Trafford, you should be hanging your head in shame walking past all of them fans that have come out on a Monday night, which is always awkward, obviously, and I know everyone has to do it, and I'm not making an excuse for Monday night football there being the reason, but still, you have let that fan base down, and we'll deal with this tomorrow. It kind of like sidesteps it a little bit, and it's trying to forget about what's happening there, and then he wants more time to think about it. We've had so many days preparation leading up to this game that it should have already been in place, and you should already know what you're dealing with. And if something went wrong on the night, you should have been able to deal with it there and then, and make sure that them players knew exactly what was coming this week. I mean, everybody in Old Trafford could see the problems that Manchester United were having, and that mentality that I talked about there, that was there against Spurs and Forest a little bit in terms of fighting back, wasn't there against Everton. And while Rúben's picking the same players and judging players off training, and then using that as his method to picking players for the starting lineup week in, week out, it's never going to get better for him. And he says he's changing. He says he can change. He's changed the way that he plays. He has in different moments, but he isn't changing the players, and he isn't giving other players time. And as much as we know Xerxes and Mainu are pretty much done for at this football club, there's always the fans that will have the argument, and this is what was coming back last night. There's always them fans that will have the argument that, well, how the hell are them players going to get match ready and match sharp and be ready to go when we need them if they're never, ever going to play when other players are still being picked, even if they're playing badly or performing poorly? This is where fans pick up on little things, and that favouritism tag will start to creep in again. The Bruno, the Dalot, the players like this that he keeps on picking. This is going to be a problem for Rúben with this fan base, I feel, going forward. And again, it comes down to recruitment in January. Can Manchester United make deals happen? We have got updates on that this morning. But overall, just on Rúben Amorim, people, get into the comment section and let me know where you're at and what you're thinking right now, because this took me by surprise last night. And again, the poll. I've just turned the screen back on now and had a look at the poll. And it says, do you believe Amorim is still the man for Manchester United? It's, what, we're coming up to 500 votes here on this poll right now. And 51% are saying no. I mean, I did not expect that. I really didn't. And that's taken me by surprise. It really has. But look, the fans are speaking. And the boos are probably the biggest sign that they're not prepared to wait it out for Rúben Amorim now. He's a year in, exactly. We're a year down the line, and where are we? We're a little bit better than we was last season in the Premier League. Failed everywhere else, but we're a bit better in the league. That's probably all we can say. And it was easy enough to get an improvement from last season because we were so bad. And that, again, is something that the fans were saying last night. And people talking to me were hell-bent on saying that he cannot keep getting away with this. And I've already seen enough. I know the same thing is coming. Why delay the inevitable? That's what people are saying again after one game. But it's like people were waiting for this to happen. It's like people were waiting for the inevitable to come. Was it that clear and that obvious? Get in the comment section. Give me your thoughts on this, everybody. Roz says with a super chat, thank you, Roz, my man. We have 10 years of shit players backed up at this club. They are starting to do the right things. Is Amorim a bit rigid in changing his system? Yes. Are there larger issues at play? Also, yes. It's a good point. Again, no, they are trying to fix them larger issues. And is that where we need to be patient with Rúben? Well, the rest of the club is still trying to fix itself. Are we just using Rúben Amorim struggling like every other manager as our escape? And he's the one that needs to be let go. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to deal with this current crop of players. He can't get more out of them. People were saying last night we were going in on Erik ten Hag because he didn't change his system. He was stubborn and he had his favourites. And people saying last night to me that this is what Rúben Amorim is doing right now. So why is it so different for him than it was for Erik ten Hag? I looked at all valid points. All valid points. Sick to death of mad Arse United fans when we lose, including you. Your statement of move the B-start out yesterday is discussing exactly what is wrong with our fan base. That's disappointing, Adam. The bastard out of... Oh, right, okay, so not B-star, you mean bastards. Including me, move the bastard out yesterday is discussing exactly what is wrong with this fan base. That's disappointing, Adam. So, just to come back on that, Brits Abroad, in terms of players that can't be asked after what I spend all season, every single season for the last decade plus, if they can't be asked and fight for their place in this team and take the chance when they're on the pitch, mate, see you later. It's not disappointing, mate, in my eyes, and I will always back what I said. I appreciate you coming back with a comment on that. I'm obviously with a super chat as well, and you're totally welcome to that, matey, but I don't think it is. The disappointment is these players, the same players from last season that produced the worst ever Premier League season, the same players that feel like they should be on 200 grand a week, and I know who I was talking about when I mentioned that word as well, Brits Abroad, and I will stand by what I said, mate. See you later. Get the bar steward out if you're not willing to fight and do more and want to earn a fortune. I don't want you in my football club, mate. And it's not being mad. It's looking at one particular player and say, why didn't you take that opportunity? All we've heard is people trying to defend these players and say they haven't been given a chance. And you have to balance the argument out, which is why I brought other people's opinions in this morning, mate. So I appreciate your opinion, I really do. And you know I'll always let everybody have their say. And it's fair. It's fair. Look, I don't want everyone to agree with me. That's totally fine. I've got no issue at all with that. But I am not going to change my mind over players that feel like they should be already being given the world. It's the same thing with every single former Manchester United player. And we listen to the legends and we listen to former players like Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes. And we sometimes think they're a bit over the top. But all of them are saying exactly the same thing as I am. They already want the world when they've not earned it. They haven't done enough. And this is the problem that we've got with these so-called Manchester United players now, I feel. It's like, I should be playing. Well, prove it. You had your chance, you crap the bed. Get them out. It's as simple as that. It's not being mad. I disagree with that. It's not being mad at all. It's just saying what you see. And the body language, while I'm sat there watching this team, is absolutely disgusting. So I think we've got every right to be having a moan at certain players. I don't agree in the booing, and I've just defended the fact that I think Rúben should be given time. I think he's up against it, and I think he's got an uphill battle here. I really do. And the problem that fans have got, I think, is that they're just out of patience. They're out of patience and have not seen it. They're not seeing enough change. They're not seeing enough being done by the manager. I would rather blame the players than the manager right now. I would. I'm seeing players that have been brought in that are better. I'm seeing players that are willing to work for Rúben Amorim. And I said it again on the day. And that comment when I made it, 9 players from last season started that game yesterday. Every single sub that came on the pitch was from last season that played in that game against Everton. And it was our worst performance of the season. Coincidence? I think not. That was the team and that was the squad that really let this fan base down last season. And we won't forget that. So, yeah, if you're not willing to put it in, you're not brave enough to go on that pitch and fight, and you don't realise where you are, which is Manchester United, where you've got no definite position or place in this team, then sling your hook. I can understand what people would say coming back on that, though, to me, and say, well, he hasn't dropped Bruno, he always plays Dalot, so how can you argue that point? I get it. But that's where we're stuck, and that's why we're talking about this morning. That's why it's a debate. That's why Manchester United fans right now, I think, don't know if they're coming or going. And it is difficult. It is. Just mentioning the poll there, we've had another 4% swing on people backing Rúben Amorim now. So now we're on 53% of people actually thinking that Rúben is the man. It just goes to show when you mention certain players and when you start talking about other areas that could actually be at fault in Manchester United's set up at the moment, more people then sometimes will look to change their mind or look at it a little bit differently. It's great to get loads of different opinions in. And look, I didn't agree with everybody last night on this poll and on this calling show. And look, like I just said, I haven't got any issue at all with people wanting to have a go at me. I just feel like I seen with my own eyes, and the eye test is what you would always judge things off. Talk is cheap, but what we seen and what we watched on that pitch was a lack of, I feel, a lack of mental strength, a lack of determination and belief in this team. And if you don't believe, then there's no chance at all. And I don't know if Rúben Amorim can turn that around unless the players leave. And that's the only way out of this. If the players are not there, then we can fully blame Rúben Amorim. But it's these same players again that are letting another manager down, and that's the issue. It isn't it? But then again, I keep on saying that, and I keep on bringing that up, and it's like in a defence of Rúben Amorim in a way, and I get that. But then obviously in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, someone else is going to come in with a comment now and tell me that, yeah, but Adam, he keeps playing Bruno, who's playing crap. Keeps playing Dalot all of the time. He's not changing his system. He's being too stubborn. He's not give Kobe Xerxes a chance. It is what it is. Stephen says, bang on Adam, too many entitled players. Work hard for F's sake. You're privileged to play football for a living. Grow up, man up. Fly boys. Guys, two things can be true. How many times are we going to blame the players? Most of our squad is new anyway. Our players aren't so shite that we can't execute a plan against Everton. This is mad. This is where it is. No booing from me or anyone around me on Monday night at Old Trafford. Just sheer frustration and anger at the total lack of commitment from the entire team. Oh, that's a strong one again. Bruno Fernandes is not good enough. Gave the ball away for the goal, and it's not the first time. Nope, probably at fault twice for that goal. And it was a feeble attempt to try and tackle Dewsbury Hall as well by Bruno Fernandes, but then again, he's playing in a position where he shouldn't be. He gave the ball away, and you can say that is part one, but maybe he shouldn't have been in that position. There's so many different ways you can you can blame players for certain moments in that game, and there's so many different ways of looking at it in general, isn't there, really? But I still feel like what Rúben Amorim has said there in that interview with DAZN Portugal, it's kind of covering things up, and I think this is where the fans are at. We're a year in, and he has come out and said things like this before, and I can see where it frustrates Manchester United fans. I actually believe that Rúben Amorim is right on that. It does change, and I've seen it, particularly while I've sat in the stand. I've seen it move around a little bit. I've seen players be in different positions. I think there's a lot of interchanging up top, and that can confuse defenders as well, but I think it's harder in a short space of time to try and coach that into a team where you're constantly rotating and moving around. Rather than keeping it simple, I think the argument from a lot of United fans is that he's making it very, very difficult, and it looks too complex. It looks so awkward, and sometimes it does look and come across that way on the pitch. The players don't know where they should be, and that, again, is why we're in this position talking about it. And that is fair enough, but we have what we have. Support Rúben. He's going nowhere. Get used to it. I think I was the one that was defending him, mate, to be honest. I think you're having a go at me for the wrong reason there. I was the one that's actually saying that Rúben should be here till the end of the season. And I think if he's not in Europe, then he should be gone. I think that's what I don't think United can survive without European football. Appreciate the supers, matey. Again, I think I don't know if you took me across the wrong way there, though. But I didn't, and I wasn't the one that was saying Rúben needs to go now. I just think he needs backing in January. I think we need better players. And I'm only saying this, and I know a lot of people would come back at me and say, well, don't waste any more money on the manager who isn't working now. We're just doing the same things again. I actually feel like the structure is what gives me more confidence. Even if Rúben isn't here, I feel the structure is definitely better, and we're buying and looking at recruiting players that can work under several managers, like Cunha and Bumo, Sesko, Ahmad, he's work under any manager. I mean, come on. Tony Mowbray got a load out of bleeding Ahmad. These are the players that you know can work under multiple managers. The argument would come back, well, this is what these players have been doing for years. But it was a really, really important point made by David Ornstein yesterday, which is what I want to move on to next in this show in terms of what's happening with movements and potential transfers. This is that at Manchester United, not just this summer, but next summer, so 2027 summer transfer window, Manchester United are going to have even bigger decisions to make. And what's happening now is Manchester United are looking at players to replace certain players that are going to be gone the next summer transfer window. And this is how recruitment works. So after this summer, the players and significant players that are on the last years of their contracts, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Lisandro Martinez, this is off the back of Harry Maguire and Casemiro this summer. The one after, you've got them three players running out of contract. Dalot will be getting close and will need a decision. You've got four big positions there for Manchester United in seniority in terms of players that have been at this club probably a lot more than anybody else, apart from Leacher, but he would be creeping up to 5 years at this point as well. Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot. I don't think any Man United fan would lose sleep if any of them players would leave this summer. But Ornstein is saying that, yes, that will come then. And the decision will need to be made on them players when we get to that summer transfer window. But what United are doing now is already recruiting and scouting for players to replace these players. So this is where the left centre-back or another centre-back might come in. Aidan Heaven last night getting minutes at Solihull Moors playing for Man United's under-21s. He is seen as a player that Manchester United will have there to potentially just replace Luke Shaw already. And then they can recruit maybe another younger player on top of that. This is where it's awkward when you don't have the amount of game time necessary to develop players. And it is a real problem for United. Then you're looking at the other key positions there. You got two centre-backs in Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez the summer after next. And they are where Manchester United might be looking now. So when we hear about centre-backs being recruited and we're like, we've got plenty of centre-backs, we don't need any of them. And I've said this before myself, United are looking at the next transfer window on top of this summer's as well. So looking at that, and then Bruno Fernandes will be out the door, Diogo Dalot, a central midfielder and a wing-back, what United need desperately this summer as well. So they are planning ahead, is what Ornstein is saying as well. When it comes to the actual news and what's going on, and I'll come back into the comments again in a moment and get your opinions again, everybody. When it comes to recruitments, there's still a push for Antoine Semenyo. Now, it looks like there is 5 different Premier League clubs in. First 10 days of January. We know the script, we know the score, we know exactly how this is going to play out. Somebody has to come in the first 10 days of Jan to bid for Semenyo, 60 million, gets the deal done. That's all clear. And now the report coming out this morning, I think it was late last night actually, and Team Talk ran it as well. And a few other people have run with the same one. When it comes to Antoine Semenyo, Cherry's technical director, Simon Francis, is a lifelong Manchester United fan. I know, you can look at this and you can take it with a pinch of salt if you want, but he is apparently pushing Semenyo and recommending that he goes to Manchester United. This, of course, on top of the getting the number 24 shirt, because that is so important. I don't really read into that, to be honest, but the technical director is pushing Semenyo to Manchester United. United are looking at him. Andy Mitten was saying yesterday as well that Manchester United would be open to bringing somebody in at the right price who is the right quality in the wide attacking areas. And Semenyo fits this. If Rúben Amorim is true to his word, and he says that this system changes, it's a 4-4-2, it's a 4-3-3, it's a 3-4-3. And this is why I opened up the show with this from Portugal DAZN. Because Rúben's saying that this system is alternating all of the time. Semenyo shouldn't even be an issue. He should just go out. You should just go out and buy him. Because if it does change all of the time, and it is a complete rotation through different formations, through games, then you just need capable players of playing in a certain area of the pitch. that are going to listen to Rúben Amorim in terms of how he wants them to play, the triggers in games, when certain things happen in games. You just need to fill that team with capable players that know how to play a couple of different positions and know when looking at the opposition, when to change up. And this is like high-level coaching, of course, and obviously there are many managers that would look at it this way as well. But if that is the case, then why are we not all out for Semenyo? We should just be going out and getting him. And then if it forces Rúben into making a bit of a change again, and like he says, he is changing and everything is on the table, then go and get Antoine Semenyo. And we shouldn't even be talking about fitting him into a 3-4-3 if this is so adaptable under Rúben Amorim. I think this is the type of player that Manchester United need. We lacked pace against Everton. We lacked strength. We lacked power against Everton. We were weak. We were bullied. Every single header we lost. We didn't pick up any second balls. We weren't quick enough and we weren't sharp enough. You need players like Antoine Semenyo in that side. And if you aren't fully convinced by the likes of Kobbie Mainoo and Joshua Zirkzee, who are both pretty much number 10s in this system, they cannot play as a number 9 or as a midfielder in Kobbie's case here, then Semenyo comes in and is a replacement straight away for both of them players, and it gives you the room to move them out and make a plan for a transfer potentially for the summer, does it not? I'm just saying, when you look at it like that, you have to look at the value, you have to look at the quality, the age, longevity, and everything that this player brings is everything that Rúben Amorim and Jason Wilcox has been talking about over the last few weeks. If United let Semenyo go or don't even attempt to go out and buy him, it's a crime. It really is. Go out and get him. Go out and get João Gomez. Because, like we said last night, again, the João Gomez story is really developing now. His head has been fully turned and he wants the move to happen for January. This is now on several different outlets in Brazil, and we're getting a few other publications and different accounts coming in with this now from closer to home as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Manchester United go out and spend over 100 million, because that's what it's going to take to get João Gomez and Antoine Semenyo. If you said to me that United could get Semenyo and Gomez for 110 million this January, would you go and do it? I'd be like, are you stupid? Yeah, of course I would go and do it. It's two areas of the pitch that Manchester United need drastic improvement in. It adds power, it adds strength, it adds composure, it adds experience, and it adds something different to what we've got right now, which is exactly what Manchester United's recruitment setup is looking into. That, I think, is absolutely crucial right now for Manchester United. So get them both. Prove that you are forward thinking. Prove that you are looking to build for the future, even if it is in January. And you know what? More importantly, and I don't want to say this just because it's Rúben Amorim and that's what we're talking about this morning, these two players live past Rúben Amorim and will easily fit into another system. By the way, just to add that little bit extra to the João Gomez situation, with Vitor Pereira, obviously it's Rob Andrews now, but with Vitor Pereira, he played week in, week out in that 3-4-3 formation and was one of the two in there most of the time. So he knows it off by heart. He knows it like the back of his hand, this system, and what's necessary of it. So again, if you're looking for positives and you're looking for reasons as to why we go out and make that happen, there you go again. This is key, I think, going forward. Let's get into the chat on all of this as well. Keep your thoughts coming in, everybody. Give me your comments, please. Make sure that you do pop a like on the video if you are enjoying the content as well, everyone. Super chat in from Ant says, Dalot, Shaw, Maguire, Mainoo, Bruno, Agate, Casemiro, bye. Straightforward, Ant. And I do think over the next 2 years that will be happening. I don't see Ineos giving Bruno Fernandes a new contract. I don't. I think there will be movement potentially with Bruno in the summer. I think a lot depends on where United finish this season as well, you know. If United do have a disaster, we don't make European football, I don't think Bruno stays. I don't think Manchester United even attempt to even offer cheaper deals for some of the other players like Casemiro or Maguire. They have to cut cloth according, and I think with them players, it would be see you later. We can't afford you anymore. Do we believe Amorim is still the manager for Manchester United? He's still the man. That poll is getting up close now to 1,000 votes from everybody in watching this morning. And the yeses have it at the moment on 51%. It is split. It is split. And this explains what happened last night when I did the call-in. And there were so many people that wanted Amorim out now. It is a 50-50 within this fan base. It's crazy. It really is, because I'm guaranteeing, like last week, if we'd have asked this same question, I'm sure it would have been a 70-30 in favour of Rúben. There still were doubts, but they could see progress. This is how bad Everton was. It's just completely sent everyone back so far. It's why we're talking about him now in this way. Still can't understand why Shaw, Dalot and Malacia are still here. Then the poor form of Dorgu and Cunha, who seems to be struggling. I think Cunha will be all right. I know what you mean by Cunha's form. Obviously, we can't blame him because he wasn't even in the side against Everton. But still, I think Cunha will come good eventually. I think a little bit of sustained game time for him. Obviously, in and out with a couple of different injuries now in the first third of the season. It's really disappointing, but still, I feel like we are realistically here looking at a quality player, and I'm not concerned for Cunha at all. It'd take a lot for me to feel like this player was dropping off. Ian says, how can over 50% believe Amorim is the right man? 34 league games, 34 points. It's a disgrace. He needs to go. I heard the same crap when Ten Hag was in. None of you want United to do well. Is it that mark now? I think he's got more points than that now, hasn't he? I'm pretty certain he has. It's not exactly 34, is it? I mean, someone can double check that for me anyway. Flyboy says, nah, I don't want Gomez. I'll be honest, I'd rather wait for Elliott or Wharton, get me some loan deals for the winter and get proper players in the summer. We're not getting any loans, mate, though. So you either accept Gomez or nobody, because they won't do loans. I think that's been made clear already. If that changes, it changes. But that's the word at the moment. United aren't doing quick fixes. There's going to be no one coming in on loan. Apparently, anyway. That's the stance from what's being said from a few journalists now. The lack of games can be an advantage in regards to preparation and players recovering from injury, but the flip side is the lack of opportunity to develop other players. Exactly what I said before. Forever positive, bang on the money with that one there. And I think that's the situation we've got now with the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte. I don't trust any of these players to come in and be able to do a job because we're just not seeing them. If anything, like with Casemiro coming off the other day, I think it kind of told you exactly what Rúben thinks of him. He's a holding midfielder and only a holding midfielder, and will only come on if we are trying to defend a lead or Casemiro needs a break. Like Mainoo came on for Casemiro the other day because I was thinking Rúben was get some more attack-minded players on the pitch. That's the only reason I thought Kobbie Mainoo came on. And funnily enough, Thomas Tuchel was in the stands. Nobody knew he was there. He turned up, and there's a couple of English players in Manchester United's side that really did not help their cause. Luke Shaw, one of them. Kobbie Mainoo really didn't do anything when he came on the pitch. Again, I don't think we're going to be seeing any Manchester United players in this World Cup. Obviously disappointed for Harry Maguire. I think he probably is one that might warrant a place, but he's not featured. And again, I think he'll also miss out on the World Cup. So yeah, this is going to be a difficult one for the Manchester United English players to handle. Big World Cup coming up and not good enough. If Amorim continues with this formation, I don't see him winning a teacup. The players he has are not meant for this formation he believes in. Well, he's saying that it's not just that one rigid formation. This is the point we're making. Can you see change in the game? I mean, have you seen this system change? Be honest and get into the chat, people. I mean, you watch it as much as I do, and we watch it and pick up on every tiny little detail. Do you feel like this system and formation has adapted in games? Have you seen it happen? Get into the comment section and let me know, everybody. By the way, Diego Leon, that is another story. He is going to be sent out to Nice, apparently. Obviously, another team, club that Ineos have got ownership in. So, again, it's going to be another player that we might have thought potentially could come in and give us another option going out on loan. We spoke about this the other day, but United's plan apparently is to send Diego Leon out on loan to Nice for the rest of the season once January hits. So, yes, that is another one that is probably definitely going to happen now. Another player is going to be sent out. Gomez is average in duels is 4.8, 45%. Gomez is average on SofaScore is 6.67. Semenyo is stronger in duels. Semenyo is above average on SofaScore. Again, if you are in a losing side like Wolves, stats can be very manipulative and not completely tell the full picture. I get what you're saying there as well, Squash, but still, we have to look at characteristics in players also. Would Gomez have better numbers in a better side? Yes, of course he would. And that, I think, is what Manchester United are potentially looking for through recruitment as well. It's not all about the numbers. It's about, well, they are looking at the data analysis. I get that. I think it's in certain things that they do and characteristics that United are looking for now more than certain bits of stats. But I think he would be a lot better if he was in a better side, like many players anyway. Let's see what else we've got. Cannot keep changing managers. Let's see how the season goes, says Deborah. Let's see. I feel I'm on my way with my thoughts. It's refreshing to see some like-minded folks here. It's difficult to engage when all I see is flip-flop, low IQ, Amazon, next-day delivery, cretins spouting. Mark is not a happy man in there in watching other people. No, look, I say this all the time, and you know you would have heard me say this. I'm not right. I'm just putting my opinion across as a Man United fan. I am definitely not right, and I don't know any better or any more than any other Man United fan. You know what you watch. You know what you're witnessing, and you'll have an opinion on what you see your team doing on the pitch. And this is why I said, like, if you're not willing to fight for that Manchester United shirt, if you're not willing to get in line and fight for your position, then I don't want you. That's just me. That is just me. I'm not flip-flopping. I've always been the same. I can't stand players that think that they should be ahead of other players just because of something that they have done previously. No, I judge you for what you are now and how you're performing. If you're crap, you're crap. Get out the side. You don't deserve to be in the side. And that's where a lot of people come back and argue against me on the Rúben Amorim case, because he keeps on playing similar players that have underperformed as well for United. The problem we've got is we really haven't got anyone. We haven't got anyone really to replace Bruno Fernandes, and he keeps playing bad. Like, this is the problem we've got. We need a replacement for him. That should be your recruitment drive right there. You need an out-and-out, dominant, game-changing midfielder and game-controlling midfielder. You should be looking to replace Bruno Fernandes. That should be the top priority at recruitment. Not wanting to get Bruno out, by the way. I just think you need to be looking now to make sure that you have got someone there to replace Bruno. He is the most important player in this team, whether you like it or not. He's important because everything runs through him. He's important because he's the captain. He's important because he's the one who puts up the numbers and the stats, even if you don't like his performance, his petulance and his Hollywood passing. He is the most important player at this team, and his time is coming to an end. He isn't going to get a new deal, and he will be gone minimum within the next 2 years. He is key, and replacing him will be the biggest challenge for Manchester United, which is why you do everything in your power to go and get Elliot Anderson. And it's as simple as that for me. That's the man that replaces Bruno. And then you go and get another holding midfielder. And then you go and get another versatile central midfielder that can do 2 jobs potentially. And then you maybe bring in a couple of academy players after that. But that's where United need to fix. That's the position that United need to fix the most. That one man, he is right now, I feel, I think he's the key to Manchester United moving forward in every single way. In what he does on the pitch, because he plays every week. and in replacing him. There's no one else in that team that I think holds the same importance as what Bruno Fernandes does. And look, I'm not bigging him up in that there. I'm just saying, you know what you're watching, and you know how Rúben works. You know how every single manager has worked with Bruno Fernandes. He never misses a game. First of all, you have to replace that consistency in always being fit. You have to replace that energy, which is hard, as we're seeing. You have to be able to run and run and run. You have to create. You have to give numbers. Whether you like him or not, you still have to find someone who puts up numbers to keep us up there. And that is difficult. That is why I think United are looking at players like Elliot Anderson, a different player. I think he is a different player to him, but still, I think that's why United are desperately looking at players like that. Just going through the other news as well now. Let's get through as much of this as we can. I was going to talk about the AFCON situation last night, but I forgot. Sorry, everybody. But Manchester United will accelerate discussions over the African Cup of Nations release dates for Bryan Mbeumo, Amad Diallo and Nus Mazraoui following Monday's defeat by Everton. Clearly, cause they were already discussing this. Everton's got nothing to do with it. I think the Daily Mail have just used the Everton disaster as another way of people to get people to click on this. But under AFCON rules, players must be released 2 weeks before their opening games. Morocco play in the tournament opener against Comoros on the 21st of December. While Ivory Coast and Cameroon are first in action on Christmas Eve. So technically they shouldn't stay with United any later than the Wolves game on December the 8th. So that's next week. Oh God, they're gone next week. Club sources say nothing has been decided yet. United struck a deal with Cameroon, so Andre Onana ended up missing only one game during the last AFCON 2 years ago, and Amorim confirmed last week that the club are exploring ways to hold onto Mbeumo and Diallo and Mazraoui for as long as possible. Ideally, they want them players available for the Bournemouth game at home. That's what they want them there for. That's the game that they want them there for the minimum of. So then they can go after the Bournemouth game. So United are hoping to release them maybe a week before their game, is what we're saying here. So hoping that they can string it along for... so what will that give us? It will give us Palace this weekend, then West Ham, then Wolves, and then Bournemouth. So that would be the games. They would miss Villa. They would miss Newcastle. They would miss the other Wolves game. Potentially miss Burnley. Potentially miss Leeds. And then go into the latter stages. Hopefully they're back before we play Arsenal and City back-to-back in the second week. They could potentially miss the first round of the FA Cup as well. They're the games that they could miss. So, yeah. It doesn't look promising, that, does it, when you look at what they could be missing out on. In terms of the transfer news as well for Manchester United, the Carlos Baleba situation, and this has come from Africa Foot as well, the publication over there that was big on reporting when Manchester United were linked to Baleba in the summer, alongside obviously Indy Carlos. Okay, I think I am back with the sound, everybody. God knows what happened there. It's not like my sound to ever have a problem on a stream, is it, eh? I'm back, everyone. Can you see me? I've not done a runner. I'm still here. I don't know what happened there. I must have just triggered something or knocked it off. Hey, I'm back in, everyone. Sorry about that. I was in full flow about Carlos Baleba then as well. But if you didn't hear that, I'm not sure what point I lost sound there for a minute, but it was on Carlos Baleba still being a Manchester United target and David Ornstein just saying that he might have dropped down the pecking order because of form, and Elliot Anderson is now number one. Like Andy Mitten was saying on the Talk of the Devils podcast yesterday, and I would definitely trust what Andy Mitten would say. And he said that Manchester United want Elliot Anderson, and he is their number one. So that's what we would go with, and I think that would be 100% what Manchester United, I think now with in terms of pecking order and transfers. Like I said with Bruno Fernandes, the importance of him. It's in and out. I don't know why it's in and out. Sorry about this, everyone. Got no idea what is going on right now. It shouldn't be in and out. Everyone, if you could just refresh your page if you are struggling with the sound. Everything is working from my end. I can see it clearly working. Just give me a bit of a double check on that as well, everybody, just to make sure it's not a YouTube problem. But yeah, sometimes it happens and then it gets fixed with a bit of a refresh. I think most people are fine right now. I'll keep an eye on it. It says it's all right on my side. Sometimes if you refresh your page on YouTube, it does fix it. So I fixed my side, you fix your side, sort of thing. Look, it's technology at the end of the day. It's it's never straightforward, is it? And there are always little hurdles that we always have to stumble across. But yep. The reboots do work, everyone, it seems like. Good God. Sabotage. Yeah, I was talking about Bruno, the importance of him, why Manchester United are looking at Carlos Baleba and all of that. But we're pretty much covered with everything now and we're up to date. Give me your thoughts on Rúben, everybody. Look at that. I'm going to finish this poll up. Look at this in the chat, everybody. Nearly 1,200 votes on that poll this morning. 50-50 on Rúben Amorim being the man at Manchester United and continuing. And Gems has just dropped in 5 memberships right at the end of the show there. What an absolute legend. I love that, Gem. Thank you very much. And that is a perfect way to finish on a positive. Forget the sound issue that we had for a minute. Look at the debate. Get into the comment section when the video is finished. It's live, everybody. And give me your thoughts on Rúben more in particular. Give the video a like as well. We got well over 200 this morning, so thank you again, everyone, for that. And, of course, make sure that you do subscribe. We've got plenty of content coming up, and I will be back with you later on today. If anything breaks, I'll be back with you probably around about lunchtime. If not, we'll always see you later on as well for the live show. Normal schedule today, everyone, as well.